However, it's not all bad. Then out spoke brave Veronica, the chair of the committee. To every woman of this earth who's ever feeling shitty, just remember men die sooner. You'll have a year or two without them when you're older, and damn good riddance too.
Paul Holmes, broadcaster and poet. Well, we're 4 speakers down, 2 to go. Which team's ahead? Who can say? Only the judges. We'll be back with the 3rd speakers after this break. Welcome back to the 1993 Bank of New Zealand Festival debate. It is time for a woman. Well, the 3rd speaker in the women's team is a woman of many creative talents, Ginette McDonald.
Ladies and men. Oh, and this attractive Richard Long, our Thero's answer to Burt Reynolds. Without the libido. What we have heard tonight already from these unfortunate specimens is nothing more than a complete waste of time. Jim Hopkins' strangulated ejaculations demonstrate that only his varicose veins save him from being completely colourless. Well, that it is time for a woman indeed. You've only got to look at Fran to see that she was long overdue. This magnificent example of pulsing Catholic womanhood, ladies and gentlemen. In her day, she was an MP of formidable proportions. Fran bestrode the flagging members of Parliament like a colossus. Fran had it in her. Fran had it in her to be the first woman Prime Minister in this country. Fran could have been another Indira Gandhi. Immortalised, incidentally, by Ranjan Gupta of the All of India Wireless Service as a woman with many, many loopholes. But Fran has no loopholes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Raybon, in fact, he comes from very humble stock. It's true, his people were tragically poor. There was hardly ever any food on the table, but his father told him somewhat optimistically, "The sun rises in the east." Well, of course, Raybon's now successful in a sort of moderate way, but he's rich enough to put some food on his family's table. Now they say, "The sun eases in the rice." Oh, he's a sensitive new Asian guy, is Raybon. Not that sensitive. His writing can be a little bit cynical at times. Raybon, darling, I'd just like to remind you of the ancient Chinese proverb. Do not remove a fly from your friend's forehead with an axe. Oh, you can smirk, Jim Hopkins. Oh, very amusing. Ha ha. Jim was once employed by NASA as a stand-up lunar landscape. That it is time for a woman, or girls, speaking frankly, we know it's not on our side. Time is really only useful in the kitchen, where it goes very well with lamb. But my dears, what time does to a woman. The ravages. Time, which can send us from a pert 36B to an overwhelming 38 double D cup. It's like walking around with 2 bags of mandarins strapped to your sternum. Look at that. Eh?
The Lockwood Smith sunglasses.
Regrettably, not Lockwood Smith's jockstrap jockstrap would be dwarfed by comparison with those. Now look at these. Men, you listen and learn. Just you try conducting a top-level board meeting. With these bouncing around inside your shirt. As for jogging, don't even think about it. But bosoms are not the only instruments of female oppression. Oh, no. What about this then, eh? At least half of you will know what this is. Now, you've got to ask. You know what this is. If Einstein had had one of Linda's sex changes and had encountered one of these, would he have discovered the theory of time's relativity by gazing at a tram in Munich? No, he wouldn't have. He would have discovered with his first gynecological examination that time for a woman is interminable. Oh, this is also very useful for cracking nuts. So it is possible for women to defy time, but it ain't easy. Not when we've got to be Mother Teresa, Mrs. Beeton, Germaine Greer, and the whore of Babylon all in one hit. But we manage. Some of us are frightfully successful at it. Aren't we, team? Yes. Aren't we, audience? I think the best thing for these boys, these pathetic turkeys, in fact, their only hope, is to try to get in touch with their feminine side. To find the woman within. Because in spite of all our little encumbrances, it's wonderful to be a woman. It's time for a woman. It always has been.
Ginette McDonald letting it all hang out. Well, it's now time for the men's third speaker, the eloquent, the erudite, Raybon Kan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is very sunny to be here. It is so sunny, it reminds me of the third world. And never have I seen so beautiful a collection of females as the affirmative team. I have not seen three such beautiful females since last week's episode of Tuck's Wonder Dogs. Fran Wilde is Wellington's token woman mayor. Meaning she'll do it for milk tokens.
Don't get too excited, Raybon.
To Ginette McDonald, cast your memory back, everyone. I think the philosophy that we heard from Ginette McDonald was as profound as anything Benny Hill ever said. And it's true.
Had to be said, Ginette.
It's true, Ginette is very observant. I am Chinese. To Linda Clark. She bragged that their team was an example of, quote, double D womanhood. Don't brag about your school results. And she called us, our team, Snow White and the Two Dwarfs.
That hurt.
That did hurt.
It did hurt. It didn't hurt me as much as it hurt you and Paul, but...
But it is a very sexist world that we live in. And we only, you know, in a way I am ashamed to be a man, even though I am a lesbian. And I think you only have to look at the advertisement for Singapore Airlines to know that it is a very sexist world. You know, why is it never Singapore man, you're a great way to fly?
Yes. That's a very good question, Raybon.
I expect to see an episode of Holmes dealing with that one soon. As men, what can we say? I mean, when you hear the statement, it's time for a woman, as a man, obviously you agree. Basically, it's always time for a woman. But I think the affirmative team don't go far enough. And the way we would disagree with them, the way we would negate the topic, is that it's not time for a woman, it's time for lots of women. Thank you.
The ever-critical Raybon Kan. Well, don't go away, because in a moment the leaders of the two teams will sum up. Welcome back. Well, you've heard the speeches of the 6 debaters. It's now the responsibilities of the 2 leaders to sum up, starting with Fran Wilde.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the sign of a celebrity is that his name is often worth more than his services are, and tonight we've had a graphic illustration of this from all 3 speakers of the negative team. And I must say that having heard all speeches of the negative team, I do wonder what's so special about Christmas. I mean, the birth of a man who thinks he's God is obviously not such a rare event in New Zealand after all. Raybon Kan. Raybon Kan likes to think of himself as a thing of beauty and a boy forever. Sensitive about his ethnicity, though, isn't he? Sensitive about his gender, sensitive about his very existence. What would Freud say? Of course, it's no wonder if you had a name like that. Raybon Kan, some sort of fake designer sunglasses bought in the Pakistani bazaar. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the pièce de résistance from the affirmative team. What do you call 150 men squashed together at the bottom of a cliff? A start. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for a woman.
I think the men's team fairly well summed up. Now to get his revenge, Snow Hopkins.
Thank you, Richard. Although I don't know what I should thank you for, ladies and gentlemen, when I saw in your own came out today this box that says removable dino damage wound, and here it is, the dino damage wound. I had no idea, I could not envisage that the slashing deadly jaws would come from these 3 vixens. But tonight, if there was madness and insanity in this room, it came not from us. We were not the Visigoths. We were not those whose codpieces glistened with some rapacious menace. We came not like barbarians from the north to loot, rape, plunder and pillage. Although they were Paul's best subjects at school. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we came tonight as a caring trio. We came tonight with the milk of human kindness coursing in our collective bosom. Because I felt tonight that listening to the debating with the 3 of you was a wee bit like spending an eternity in a mall with Richard Lowe, Graham Purvis, Bull Allen and Jimmy Thunder. Savage brutality of the worst kind. If this is a manifestation of what it means to be time for a woman, then count me out. For I am not one who would file his teeth and sink those sharpened objects dagger-like into the soft and tender flesh of someone else's feelings. If that's what Fran learnt from 10 years of politics, so be it. But it's not our way. Paul and Raybon... Sorry, sir, did you swear? You're just overcome in your own caring rural way, aren't you? You're a farmer and your cow's milk's just come in, hasn't it? There's some cerebral connection between you and the beasts, and you know, don't you? The soles of your feet are throbbing and you want to run away from here, and I don't blame you. We came tonight not to wound, but rather to warm the cockles of your heart and propose a fusion, a union, an amoeba-like bonding sexless in the cosmos of concern. We go together, dividing mitotically, but reuniting, cellular entity by cellular entity, regardless of gender, whether there are lumps on the trousers or lumps on the chest. It matters not. Mind you, it's a bit of a worry having a Prime Minister called Bolger, isn't it? Especially when he's got 9 children. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, we come here tonight to embrace, to clasp together, not to drive the wedge of disharmony between the sexes, but to embrace the genders, and to urge you to surrender gender and say, as Raybon has said, and Paul has so movingly said, and remember his mother is in this audience, and if you vote against us, she'll be so upset. And you shop with her at Three Guys. How can you look Mrs. Holmes in the eye if you turn on her and turn on her boy? Because we are saying tonight, it's not time for a woman or time for a man. It's time for people. And it's time to stop.
Well, judging that last desperate performance from John Hopkins, and indeed judging the whole of tonight's debate, have been 3 independent observers. They are Theresa Gattung, who is the BNZ General Manager Marketing, Karen Laws of the Hawke's Bay Speaking Union, Councillor John Campbell, the Acting Mayor of Hastings. And could I ask Theresa Gattung now to come on and put the teams out of their misery and announce the winner and present the scrupy.
Well, it's been a tough task for the judges this evening, but at the end of the day, it was unanimous. It is indeed time for a woman.
Well, there you have it. A surprise victory for the women. A shock defeat for the men. But overall, I think 6 outstanding debaters. Fran Wilde, Ginette McDonald, Linda Clark, Jim Hopkins, Paul Holmes, Raybon Kan. On behalf of us all, good night.